Welcome back, YouTube. My name is Jackson, or Jackson Talks as the channel name. Um, Today is Wednesday, and unfortunately, Wednesday is just one of those days where it's in the middle of the road. Next week is my Thanksgiving break, so that's gonna be cool. But it is just, it's just been so fun this past week because this is my last week of school, and that's just really good. I'm almost there. I'm going to be posting videos every Saturday and Wednesday just to increase my volume of videos, because I think weekly I think weekly one video a week kind of just, it doesn't live up to expectations to me. And I've been noticing my videos have not been getting a lot of views as they can. I'm not gonna say as they should be, because they're kind of low quality. But I mean, hey, I'm filming on a Samsung phone. That just explains it all. But anyways, I'm going to be talking about a movie trilogy that I grew up as a kid. So has my cousins, a fellow YouTuber, or a former YouTuber named Hayden. I think you can find his channel HGG, I don't know, Productions, where he made a bunch of skits with his friends. And they don't do that channel anymore, so that's sad. But he introduced, I don't think he did, but uh, I remember him introducing me to these movies, I believe. And I watched these movies on like a DVD or on like Disney Channel or something when they were airing. And I remember them fondly. And this movie trilogy is Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Yes. Little quick story. I bought this DVD when we didn't have Wi-Fi for the new house, which is this house, which I'm filming at, for about 2 months. So I didn't have, for like a month. So I didn't have internet for a month, and I bought this just to keep my family entertained. But it was only $20, which is not that bad. But continuing on to the movie trilogy. This trilogy was released in like 2010 to 2013, with the last movie in the trilogy releasing in 2013, like I just said. And I think in 2014 we got The Long Haul, which that movie will be getting its own separate video because I hate that movie really much. I really hate it. It's really bad. But anyways, let me just correct that. But anyways, we're just gonna be moving on now, and let's talk about it. I just got an itch on my leg. Sorry. So the first movie is Diary of a Wimpy Kid. That's just the regular title. And talking reviews wise, this movie did not get the best reviews. It got like mediocre or like pretty good reviews, which this movie does not deserve. This movie's actually a really good adaptation, and it's just kind of sad to see that, because they're really missing out on a gem, like an absolute gem of a movie. But anyways, the story follows Greg through his life as a sixth grader. I think it's a seventh grader, but whatever. And he's a new middle schooler. He's trying to adapt to trying to be like the best cool kid in the school, but he keeps finding that he thinks his family's lame. He thinks his best friend is lame, which you should never think about. Little quick tangent: Greg is a psychopath, who is a awful person and that needs to be punished. He's a really awful person in these movies. He does like own up to him, like in the ending of I just stumbled with those words. Holy. In the ending of the first movie, which I'll talk about real quick in a bit, but that movie almost teared me up. It was that good. But the cast of this movie they just really did it. They really did a good job with the casting. These actors just really resonate with these characters. Like Roderick, he did his part so well with Roderick, especially in the second movie, that he's just like a meme, or like he's just a part of this older brother core videos, which you could find on TikTok or YouTube Shorts. and I never really watched them. I just watched a video about why these videos exist, and it was an interesting video. But yeah, moving on. And like Rowley, have you seen the meme where like he just waves? He's like he just sees like Greg wearing that whatever that was for church. But this movie's just hilarious, and I think that was in the second movie. Yeah, that was in the second movie, and this movie's just hilarious, and it's just awesome, and like the Halloween scene was really funny. Um, Greg's dad throwing water and seeing that memory of him throwing water on that little girl, that that made me laugh. That was really funny, and this movie's just really humorous, especially when you watch with a bunch of friends. This movie's just really good, and I recommend this movie to anyone. Again, this movie got like really mediocre reviews for some reason because Greg was an unlikable character, but that's literally a part of his like story arc. That's just his character trait. He's an unlikable character. But in the ending, when Greg and Rowley are like fake fighting each other because they don't actually know how to fight. When the teenagers pull up and force Raleigh to eat the cheese and Greg takes up the blame, man, that was really good. Especially when they walk away with each other, man, that was just a good ending. Minor details which I'm gonna say are like things I did not like with this movie. There's a girl that was made for this movie. Door handle. Dang, this door is broken. Her name is like, I don't remember her name. That's how forgettable she is. And she's an 8th grader or a ninth grader, whatever type of grade system they use in that school. And she's like a guardian angel to Greg who tries to lead him into the right way, but she also makes fun of him because he gets beaten by Patty in the newspaper. So like it's just kind of weird, you know? And I did not like her character. I found her like annoying, forgettable, and kind of just there. I did not really like her. She was just not a good character to add to the movie. She felt like an OC. If you don't know what that means, look up OCs and you'll see why. They're just made up characters that people add in the clips, and it's like the stupidest thing I've ever seen. But it's there. And yeah, that's just really it. Now we're moving on to the second movie with Roderick Rules. This movie is the greatest second movie, or like one of the greatest second movies of all time. No matter what, it's like one of the best, most funniest, most like, it's just really good. First off, the cast is the same as the first movie. They're all the same in the original trilogy. And they're really good in this movie. They do the same thing. The dad gets more schizophrenic moments in the movie. Roderick is a more likable character than the first movie because he was more of a jerk in the first movie. And he didn't get enough screen time as he should. But the second movie is basically about like brotherhood and stuff like that, and like, you know, Greg having to learn to like Roderick and them eventually bonding with each other. It's a good movie. It really does portray bonding with your older brother really well, even though I'm the older brother and I have a little brother, but I'm not a jerk to him. I'm also not emo or punk, whatever he is. He's punk. And yeah, I found this movie to be really relatable to me because I had a couple of fights with my brother. You know, we had a couple of yelling arguments, but eventually we found to learn that hey, we live with each other. Why can't we like each other? And so this movie just really helped us bond, and that's why I love this movie so much. It really helped me and my brother just bond with each other. And I really like that a lot. But there are some faults in this movie, and I'm gonna quickly say them because there's basically none, but there are a couple. Um, there's none. I legitimately like this movie. This movie legitimately has, I, to my mind, no flaws. Again, I gave this movie a rewatch for this video, and I just cannot find an unlikable thing. It's just that really good. And I give this movie a 10 out of 10. It's just awesome. And I wish I could have a lot more to say about this movie. I will talk about some of the funny scenes, especially the party scene where they're just partying each other like conga line and taking pictures with each other of just them partying. That's a good scene. Oh, also the part where I just remember they watch a horror movie. That's like the funniest thing I've. It's just funny. And then what else? Oh yeah, them having to clean up before mom and dad gets home, and the dad being schizophrenic about the door. That that always cracks me up. It's just so funny and stupid and hilarious. I just love this movie. It's a 10 out of 10. And yeah, but now we get to the third movie, the final one in the original, or what I like to say, the Zachary trilogy, named after the guy, who played Greg Heffley in all three movies. This movie, the characters have aged up a bit, especially Greg, who literally probably is in the middle of puberty in this movie, because his voice is a lot more deeper now, kind of like mine, but a lot, just a little bit with a lot more like, like creaks in his voice and stuff. This movie takes place over the summer instead of the school year, which the first two movies took place. And it's a great switch up. I think a summer break is a great switch between, just the regular school we see in the other two movies. It's a different environment. And instead of the first movie being a like friendship movie, the second movie being a brotherly movie, the third movie is about a father and son relationship with Greg and his dad, Frank Heffley. And they have to bond with each other, kind of like how and Roderick and how do I forget his name? Greg. Roderick and Greg, and they have to learn to like each other again. But instead of like learning to like each other, like Roderick and Greg, they have to like learn how to relate with each other and learn what their likes and dislikes and like what they learn with each other. Because Greg has a tough time relating with them. Like he wants to play video games. Frank wants him to play sports. Greg wants to not go outside. Frank wants to go on a camping trip with him and stuff like that. So eventually Greg does find like a couple of ways to relate with him, like getting a dog. They both like dogs, and that eventually leads to failure, but they do keep the dog, which is not with the original books. They eventually give the dog to the grandma, but it's just there. And then crap, there's a lot of good things for this movie. They joined the Boy Scouts. I think they're not called Boy Scouts in the movie, but they are Boy Scouts. And they join a troop and they relate to each other. But they're on rocky times because turns out Greg didn't have a job. I forgot to mention this, but Greg was lying about having a job so he can go to the country club and, like hang out with Rowley and stuff. And he does sneak Roderick in a lot, and he does appear in that movie a lot more than the first movie. And it's just a really tough scene to see Greg and the dad, Frank, kind of just lose all that love they had. Like all the like, oh, I relate with you with this, I relate with you with that, and they lose that after that incident, and they just kind of go silent with each other. And as Greg finds out through the mail that he's on the verge of going to a boot camp, uh, which is really bad. Like, I've never been to a boot camp, thank God. I'm a good kid, but there are some kids who went there and they weren't the same. So, Greg has the bottom line. So, like I said, like the third time, they join a troop, they hang out with and camp with each other. But eventually they do take down, I wouldn't say the big bad, but like the kind of evil villain of the story, which is, I think, the rival camp help counselor volunteer. I don't know. And he's just like he's just a really bad dude who makes fun of Frank Heffley and Greg a lot because they're underprepared. In reality, he's cheating with having microwaves and electricity and stuff in a TV, which, yeah, just not cool, bro. Just not cool. But eventually, they do overcome him, and he does run away. He does run away, and the movie ends with them fully bonding with each other. With Greg also bonding with Rowley, bonding with Shirag, and like they're all just like more happy with each other. And Greg does eventually get the love interest. They become much closer with each other at the end of the film. At the end, with the pool scene, the family's hanging out with each other at an empty pool. I think it's like the last day of summer in that end scene. But that's where the trilogy ended. That's where it ended. That's where it always ended. The long haul never exists. It's never canon. And I am going to be talking about the long haul for a little bit. But the long haul is the worst movie I've ever seen. Like, legitimately, I've seen worse movies that are actually funny. And I don't know how to make sense of that. But I laugh at a couple of bad movies because they're bad, but they're funny doing it. But the long haul it's just really bad. And I do not recommend watching it. I did not buy the DVD because who would buy the DVD to that? Nobody. That's who. But that ends with me covering the trilogy of Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I went into it extensively and not fully. I did skip a couple of story beats, but that's what also the movie does, which, I mean, that's not an excuse, but whatever. But hey, that is it. That is what it's going to be for this video. I want you to like and subscribe, and join the fans. I don't really have a lot of fans, but I do have 47 of them. So thank y'all. Thank you to my 46 subscribers. Thank you for my cousins to subscribing to my channel. And next week, well, in a couple of days, on Saturday, I will be covering the most underrated game I've ever played. BioShock 2 is coming. So watch out for that. Thank you guys again. I'll see you Saturday. Next Saturday. See ya.